This episode is brought to you by pastasworld.com, where you can find jigsaw puzzles, coffee and tea mugs, canvas and poster prints, iPhone cases, and more. You can even order custom items with your own pictures. Go to pastasworld.com or the Pastas World shop on Etsy to learn more.
You're listening to I Love This TV Show, The Golden Girls.
Hi, and welcome to the I Love This TV Show podcast. I'm your host, Noelle from pastasworld.com. Each season of this podcast will contain a TV show in full. This means the length of the season depends on the length of the TV show. The first season is, of course, The Golden Girls. Season 1, Episode 16, The Truth Will Out. Dorothy finds Rose in the kitchen. She asks Dorothy to sample a log she made. Rose's daughter is coming to town with her granddaughter, and Rose plans to show them the sights. Blanche comes in, talking about the Duncan Osgood trial. She thinks he's guilty. Sophia comes in complaining that she's a ticking time bomb. She's using a broken blood pressure machine to illustrate her point. She really does not want to share a room when the house guests arrive. Everyone ignores her, and Sophia begs Dorothy to lay off the broccoli. Rose is both excited and nervous about her daughter's visit. She tells them she's nervous because Kirsten is the executor of her will, and she's not sure how she's going to react to what's in it. Rose: there are some things in there that might surprise her. Blanche: oh, some deep dark family secrets? Blanche says she'd like to leave a little something to each man who she spent some time with and has given her some pleasure. Dorothy quips about the size of the building that she would need the will to be read in. Blanche: oh boy, I'd love to put some surprises in my will, like leaving a small remembrance to each of the men who has brought some special joy or pleasure to my life. Dorothy: where would they read that will, Blanche? The Astrodome? It's the day of Kirsten's arrival. Blanche comes home after a small shopping spree that includes a pair of sequin socks. Her granddaughter is named Charley, after Rose's husband. Blanche gets a little crazy and asks Dorothy if she can ask her a question. She asks her about Rose's behavior being more peculiar than it normally is. Blanche circles back to the Duncan Osgood case. The day before she died, she made her husband the heir to all of her money. Blanche: you know how she said she was nervous about showing her daughter her will? She ought to be, because wills make people do crazy things. Dorothy: like what, Blanche? Blanche: like killing people. Rose arrives with her daughter and granddaughter and introduces everyone. Kirsten is excited about going over the estate papers with Rose. But Rose states it's just a will, not estate papers. Charley gives Blanche and Dorothy logs, just like what Rose had made previously. Dorothy: oh, thank you for these lovely gifts. Blanche: what are you going to do with yours? Dorothy: it's a log. I'm going to burn it. That night, everyone has dinner together out on the lanai. Rose made a shepherd's pie for dinner. It was her husband Charley's favorite. Kirsten helps Rose clear the dishes. It becomes evident that Kirsten thinks Rose has a lot more money than she actually does. She comments about why Rose would choose to live with others when she can afford to be financially independent. Rose makes Kirsten take a look at her will in the kitchen. She reads it and is shocked. She says the numbers can't be right. She feels there should be a lot more money than there is. Kirsten accuses Rose of piddling away her father's fortune. Blanche and Dorothy are in the kitchen when this happens. Neither believe that Rose lost all the money. Rose gets upset, tells them it's true, and storms out of the kitchen. That night, Rose is in the kitchen watching the portable TV. Dorothy finds her standing with her hand over her heart with the national anthem playing. Blanche comes in. Rose tells them you should never lie to anyone. Dorothy asks her what's going on. Sophia joins them as well. They all discuss lying and that she shouldn't do it. Rose asks Blanche what the biggest lie she ever told was. She told her sister Virginia that she was left by gypsies. Dorothy says she lied to Stan by telling him how great he was in bed. They all tell Rose to tell Charley the truth about the money. But she says if she does, then she'll also have to tell the truth about her husband. Rose. But I lied to Kirsten. Now she hates me for it. Dorothy. Then tell her the truth. Rose. I can't. If I tell her the truth about the money, then she'll find out the truth about her father. I can't let that happen. Blanche is shocked. Charley is playing dress up in Rose's room. Rose comes in to tell her that lunch is ready. Charley's playing dress up because she has a pretend date with Robert, who lives in a castle. Rose asks Charley to tell her about this Robert. She says he's like Grandpa. He works very hard and is very rich. She's never heard anything else about Grandpa. Sophia comes in and tells them the spaghetti is getting cold. That night, Dorothy can't sleep. She even beats her pillow. Sophia has had enough. Rose comes in. Sophia heads off to sleep, and Rose now stays with Dorothy. Rose asks if she can talk to her. Dorothy, that is. She tells Dorothy she's sleeping with a liar. She tells her how lies are like a snowball that just keep piling on. She sees that she's asleep and goes on to a partial confession. Suddenly Dorothy speaks. She heard everything after all. The next day, Blanche brings up the Duncan Osgood case again. He is innocent. One of the servants actually did it. Kirsten comes back in. She informs them they are leaving this afternoon. Rose tells Kirsten she wants to talk to her, but she doesn't want to listen. So Rose makes her. She tells her that her father wasn't who she thought he was. Rose tells her that she lied about the money. Charley didn't leave her any. Rose made him into something he wasn't because he was away for work so much. She says, he was a success, as a human being. But his work took him away so much, I was afraid you wouldn't know that. That's why I made him into something he wasn't. The two make up and head off to lunch with Charley. Favorite quotes. Dorothy. How practical. A snack you can panel your den with. Dorothy. Tell me, Rose, do any of your kids still have their own teeth? Sophia. Look at this. I'm a walking time bomb. Stand back, I could blow any minute. Sophia. I'm begging you. While we're sleeping together, lay off the broccoli at dinner. Blanche. Boy, I'd love to put some surprises in my will, like leaving a small remembrance to those who brought some special joy or pleasure to my life. Dorothy. Where would they read that will? The Astrodome? Sophia. That's a girl's name? Charley, that's a bookie's name. Blanche. Have you noticed Rose has been acting peculiar? Dorothy. Yes, Blanche. From the first day I met her. Blanche. What are you going to do with yours? Dorothy. It's a log. I'm going to burn it. Blanche. I have no secrets from you. My whole life is an open book. Sophia. Your whole life is an open blouse. Rose. We're in the middle of a makeup lesson. Sophia. I hope the kid can help you. You wear more rouge than Miss Piggy. Rose. Dorothy, you're sleeping with a liar. Dorothy. Don't worry about it, Rose. Most of the people I've slept with were liars. Blanche. So that's it? That's the big secret. Charley was a nice guy? I would like to start the episode discussion by giving an update on my mom. She did not survive the illness that she had, and she did wind up passing away. For those who sent me kind messages, I would like to say thank you very much. That really meant a lot. All right, and now we will actually get into the nitty-gritty on this episode, because this one does kind of rather hit home based on what I've just gone through. So, I apologize because I kept saying Kirsten and Kristen and every other iteration of the name because it just doesn't easily roll off the tongue. It must be a Rose thing. But yeah, the main thing in this episode were wills, lies, and family scandals. Lies are never a good thing because it's much easier to remember the truth than it is to remember lies. And in this case, even Rose admitted that as time went on, to keep the lies intact, she had to make up new lie after new lie after new lie when she was talking about the snowball with Dorothy. And I can only assume, being as good-natured and honest as she is, that had to really do some damage to Rose. And when she finally told the truth at the end of the episode, that must have felt like a really, really big weight being lifted off of her shoulders. I did think it was really cute that her daughter named her granddaughter after her husband. Thankfully, a different spelling, but yeah. And yeah, the will thing. Will versus estate papers. Well, some people have wills, some people have massive estates, some people don't even have enough to need a will. And those were all things that definitely hit in this episode with, I think, a lot of people. Sophia wasn't in it all that much, so it was more focused on Rose in this episode and what was going on with her. But I do love the fact that Dorothy and Blanche, they really had Rose's back the whole time, and they gave her support instead of just calling her names and whacking her head with a newspaper on the head like they do a lot of times, or just make fun of her. And so I was really happy to see that happen because usually they tend to make Rose the butt of every joke. But yeah, I think that Rose probably didn't realize when she started telling one lie, little lie here, little lie there about Charley, that she was actually causing him harm instead of good. I don't think that the kids would have loved him any less if they had known the truth from the start. I think they would have probably loved him just as much, if not more. Maybe someone that's listening to this has been in a situation where they've tried to make someone seem more than they actually were. And that probably took a toll on them. And it probably didn't take a toll on the other person they were trying to build up because they may not have known about it. But it does weigh on you quite heavily after a while. I am really glad that Rose and her daughter discussed the truth and that they managed to make up so that they could continue to have a better and stronger relationship.
It's been great reliving this episode with you. Please check out the podcast website, anchor.fm/I love this TV show, no spaces. You'll be able to see the show notes and also support this podcast. To check out everything I'm up to and nerding about, head over to pastasworld.com. You'll also find additional content there. Thanks for listening and stay golden.